Hello. Today I want to look at how our brain develops uh, an addictive behaviour. And it can be an addictive behaviour to anything. It could be alcohol or drugs, shopping, sex, gambling, doesn't really matter. And I'm talking about that compulsion to use, those cravings that drive us on and compel us to use our substance that we can't seem to get rid of. I'm not talking about physical dependency, um, where our body builds up a tolerance to a substance, and then when we withdraw from that substance, go into withdrawals, we feel terrible. This is about the psychological compulsion to use our substance, or do our behaviour. Um, and it always starts with a trigger. Um, no one ever develops an addiction because it's a laugh or they couldn't think anything better to do on a Sunday afternoon. There'll be something that causes us pain, maybe in our past, something big, trauma, neglect, bereavement, um, or it might be something going on with us now. It might be money problems, home life problems, work problems, something that's causing us stress and distress now. It might be a combination of them. But basically, there's something that makes us feel bad, feel pain. And what happens is we go along and we have our substance, and the substance does exactly what it says on the tin, what it's meant to do, and it makes us feel better. And our brain thinks, brilliant, you've taken away a threat because it sees bad feelings as a threat. And it wants you to get rid of those bad feelings. So basically, by taking it away, it thinks you've done a good thing. It says, oh, great, you've done that. What it does is it floods your brain with the reward chemical, chemical called dopamine. It floods your brain with that. And that makes you feel even better. If you're wondering what pure dopamine feels like, if you've ever been really, really, really hungry and you've had a bag of chips and those have been the nicest, tastiest chips you've ever had in your whole life. Well, of course they're not. They're just an ordinary bag of chips, same as any other bag of chips. What turns them into the nicest, bestest chips in the world is your brain flooding with dopamine because you've taken away hunger. And it thinks, that's brilliant. You've taken away hunger. You should carry on definitely taking away hunger. Have some dopamine to make those chips really nice. And likewise, when we take a substance to take away a bad feeling, our brain goes, nice one, have some dopamine. That's obviously a good thing, taking away a bad feeling. So it floods our brains with dopamine. And what that means is that our brain starts linking up little brain nerve cells, neurons. It starts linking them up and it makes a little neural pathway. Like that. There we go, there's our substance. And so next time we feel bad, there's already a thought process in our head, a thought pathway in our head. You think, oh, I could have my substance again. That worked. So you have your substance again, and it works again, and your brain goes, brilliant, have some more dopamine, and that floods in. More neurons join in. And then over weeks and months and years, what turned into be a little neural pathway turns into a huge, great neural motorway like this. Doesn't look anything like that, by the way, if any neuroscientists are watching. And so now we might not even realise that we're feeling bad. It might be in our unconscious. We don't really, we feel bad, and all of a sudden we've got this craving, this urge to go and use, which is this thing firing in. If you've ever had the situation where you thought, right, today I'm definitely not going to use. I'm absolutely not going to use. I'm not going to use my substance. I'm not going to drink. Definitely not. Absolutely not. Yes, please, mister. I'll have that bottle there. Oh, damn, I bought it. Oh, well, I bought it, but I'm definitely not going to drink it. I'm absolutely not going to drink it. Oh, damn, I've drunk it. The thing that makes us do that is this. So even though our rational brain is going, don't do it, underneath we've got this, which is driving us on to do it. That's the addiction, which sounds a bit scary, really. But the good news is, and there really is some good news about this, is that our brain is what's called neuroplastic. Basically means it can rewire itself, or we can help it rewire itself. So it's completely possible through using exercises like CBT and REBT and going to groups and going going to counselling and things like this, we can learn how to break this neural pathway down. So we can break it all the way down, just like it's hard work. It's like breaking up a motorway by hand. It's really hard work, but it can be done. And then we can build a new motorway to new coping mechanisms. So, but then by every time we feel bad, we find a new way of feeling better. Going to the park, seeing friends, treating ourselves. We can form a new motorway. So we can break down the old addictive motorway and the old addictive behaviour, and we can build a new addictive pathway to new coping mechanisms that are a lot more healthy for us. Unfortunately, you can't completely break down the old one. There'll always be a little trace of it left, just a tiny bit left, which means that going back to social use of your substance, although not impossible, is incredibly difficult. And if you go back to social use, there's a good chance you could start reinforcing that and go back up to your addiction again, which is why a lot of people in recovery choose abstinence. It's not impossible to go back to social use, but it is very, very difficult, and I've never actually met someone who's done it. So that's a brief outline of what's going on in our brain when we develop an addictive pathway and how we can break it down and get rid of it and choose new coping mechanisms to help live a better, healthier life. Hope that was useful.